Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Right Side Rising. So today we're going to be covering a variety of the recent news headlines. So a lot to talk about. Trump's name popped up in some of the recent released Epstein emails, which is part of the big Epstein file story. So we're going to be breaking everything you need to know down about that and just a lot of stuff to talk about that topic in general, even besides these emails. So the shutdown yesterday also ended as Trump, with the stroke of his pen, reopened the federal government after the House passed the Senate version of the bill to reopen the government. Recently, at a TPUSA event at UC Berkeley, supporters of the TPUSA event were attacked by Antifa. So much to talk about that. Just the rise of left-wing violence has been unbelievable lately, and it shows as people who were simply attending an event hosted by TPUSA in California ended up being attacked for simply showing support. So a supporter who was wearing a red Freedom shirt, the shirt that Charlie Kirk wore when he died, but in red, he was beat up by an Antifa rioter and he was bloodied badly. So we're also going to be talking about the recent election results, which I hosted a live watch party and we ended up losing badly. So it was certainly not what we wanted to see, but we can break down why that happened. So everybody, here we go. So, liberal media has been abuzz over Trump's name popping up multiple times in emails from Jeffrey Epstein. And it seems to be that Trump and Epstein did not have a good relationship, or at least these emails portrayed it to be. Epstein certainly did not like Donald Trump, and he made that very clear over the course of these emails that were just released by Congress. And it doesn't seem like Trump was guilty. There's nothing about these emails that implicitly make Trump guilty or look guilty. So there was one email in particular that the media has been talking about and supporters of Donald Trump have been kind of questioning. And that email was stating that Trump spent hours alone with one of the victims of Epstein's victim. And apparently this name was redacted and available to the public. You can't see what name was actually in the file. It was just redacted for the safety and just overall the privacy of this victim. And it appears to be the one victim, which I cannot name her name off the top of my head, but it appears to be the one who specifically said that Donald Trump did not have any wrongdoings, who was not part of this, who didn't do this stuff, and said that she knows specifically that he was not involved in it. So that was apparently the one victim of Jeffrey Epstein whose name was in one of those emails, who Donald Trump spent alone for a few hours with. And exactly what they were doing, we don't know, but she was the one and one of the only ones who specifically said Donald Trump was not involved in the Epstein sex trafficking ring. So we know that, and that builds off of some of the previous knowledge that we had about this topic. We knew some of these things. We knew about Trump and Epstein knowing each other, and simply Trump and Epstein were both from Palm Beach. So we have to understand that they did in fact know each other, and they had occurrences where they were out in the same outings, and at one point they were friends and Trump kicked him out of his club. I mean, that's all knowledge that we already have, and these emails simply built off of that. So nothing new out of these emails. So don't let the media fool you And the media has been saying that Trump's guilty and this and that about Trump, and that he was raping a victim for multiple hours. And it turns out that the actual person the victim who was with Donald Trump for hours alone where they were together, was the one who specifically said that he did not have any wrongdoings and that he didn't do anything to her or other victims. So we know that, confirmed, and we don't have to pay any more mind to that. Now, some of these other emails. Some of these other emails say that Epstein said that Trump was evil and that he's a bad man, and simply that just proves the claim that we're making and that we're assuming, and that's that Jeffrey Epstein hated Donald Trump, or at least in the time period that these emails were happening and being sent. We can infer that Jeffrey Epstein did in fact hate Donald Trump, and we know that because Donald Trump kicked Jeffrey Epstein and banned him from Mar-a-Lago. So we know that he kicked him out of their club. And essentially, billionaires and billionaires in general all over the country collaborate and are friends, and essentially in, like, I wouldn't want to say like a club, but like essentially they are. And in Palm Beach, full of billionaires, and Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein definitely knew each other, and they were essentially in each other's club, or at least that's how it's portrayed to be. And Donald Trump kicked Jeffrey Epstein out of his club and banned him from Mar-a-Lago. And he was pissed at Ghislaine Maxwell for recruiting these young women who were barely over the legal age, and we don't know the age of some of them because some of this information is kind of blurred and kind of in a gray zone. But he was pissed at Ghislaine Maxwell for taking these women from Mar-a-Lago and recruiting them and kind of bringing them into the sex trafficking ring. So we know that Donald Trump was absolutely furious with Ghislaine Maxwell, and Ghislaine Maxwell, and obviously she was in cohorts with Jeffrey Epstein. I mean, she wasn't a his right hand man. I mean, right hand woman, whatever you want to call it, but they worked together. And Jeffrey Epstein, therefore, he didn't like Donald Trump anymore. Very simply. It's very clear. And these emails kind of reflect that. So that's that with the Trump popping up in the Epstein files, and in particular the emails. And that just kind of clarifies that. Nothing much to be said, nothing much to break down or analyze. It's kind of what we already knew. 2 nights ago, the House of Representatives finally voted on the Senate-approved bill to reopen the government, and Trump, therefore, hours later that night, on the spot, at I believe around 11, when everybody was sleeping, kind of didn't get the coverage that it deserved. It was very significant, but he signed that bill into law, and the government was therefore reopened at that point. It's just amazing because the Democrat Party held the government hostage. Truly, that's what it was. They held the government hostage for the sake of politics. They wanted to play the game of politics. They held the government hostage so that they can get this leverage. And it's really funny because Democrat influencers and supporters have been saying over the last couple days, after the Senate approved this deal and then passed a bill to reopen the government, these influencers were going out and taking to social media and saying, we just gave up every piece of leverage that we had against the Republicans. We gave it all up, and we lost to the Republicans. Let me ask this very simple question to those same influencers who took to social media and decided to go out and spiel that. Is it worth it to keep the government shut down? What's more important, political leverage or keeping the government open, or just in this case, reopening the government and allowing Americans to start traveling freely? Because truly the shutdown affected travel greatly, and certainly we would have had a terrible Thanksgiving because of the fact that Thanksgiving travel would have been significantly hindered, considering how many delays and how many cancellations the TSA and airports have been experiencing. What's more important, political leverage or American lives? I want to ask that question because the situation and some of these recent influencers taking to social media recently, that kind of begs the question, do the Democrats care more about political leverage and playing the political game and playing party politics? Is that more important than American lives? I just want to ask that, truly, because it begs it. I mean, you have influencers who are supposedly influencers. Really, we know they're controlled. We know that they're paid by the DNC. That's very clear. I mean, I don't really have to say that anymore to you guys because you guys certainly know. Everybody on social media knows it. Harry Sisson and other Democrat or liberal, progressive, now honestly socialist now, influencers have openly talked about it and discussed this and openly boasted about being paid by the DNC. We find out that they're paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to play politics. They're not impartial journalists. They're not impartial influencers. They're paid. And they boast about that. It's disgusting. It disgusts me because I know for a fact that I'm not paid. I don't get paid for what I do. If I got paid, I'd be posting every single second of the day. I wouldn't need to go to school. I wouldn't need to do anything I need to do. I wouldn't need my job. I'm actually a videographer, for some of you guys didn't know that. I wouldn't need that. But that's besides the point. Paid or not paid, influencers who know that they have the influence to sway and persuade and mislead viewers, they go out here and they're intentionally causing division and putting the priorities absolutely backwards. I mean, they'd rather support party politics and just playing the game of politics instead of actually helping Americans. I mean, you wanted a bad Thanksgiving? I mean, now Thanksgiving, I don't know how much travel is going to recover in about 2 weeks, but I mean, at least the government's now open and the shutdown is over, but it's really disgusting. And, I could sit here all day and tell you about how the Democrats care more about politics than actual American lives, but that's a topic for another episode because this episode would be going on for an hour. So also another headline that has been making the news and hasn't been getting too much coverage, hasn't been getting enough coverage, and it's truly disgusting about that fact. It's disgusting that that hasn't been getting enough coverage because certainly if it was the other way around, we know we would be hearing it until the 2026 midterms and beyond. And we'd be hearing it in the 2028 election. Oh, you Donald Trump and the Republicans, they didn't care that liberal not liberal protesters, liberal rally goers and liberal event attendees were attacked by right-wing militias or right-wing groups. It would be brought up in every debate. It would be brought up in social media videos. It would not be let go. But of course I'm talking about this. The news I'm talking about is the attack on the TPUSA rally goers at UC Berkeley by Antifa. Antifa attacked TPUSA rally goers. Now, these are conservative patriots simply going to a Turning Point USA event on the UC Berkeley campus. It is their right to the First Amendment. It is their right, freedom of expression. It's their right to assembly and to go to a Turning Point USA event. And Turning Point USA is by no means violent. Turning Point USA is simply a conservative activism nonprofit. I mean, that's what it is. And that's all Charlie Kirk wanted it to be, because that's what it is and that's what it always will be. And Antifa decided, obviously we know Antifa is so violent and they definitely deserve the title that they are now being branded as, thank God, by the President Trump. And that's a domestic terrorist organization because they are deliberately attacking conservative rally goers now. It's not even conservative activists. It's not people of power. These are rally goers who are simply exercising their First Amendment right to go watch for about 2 hours, watch a conservative speaker speak at a college campus. And the man in particular who was really hurt was a man and whose I can't identify and I won't identify just for the sake of him. I'm not sure if his name is out there already, but I couldn't name his name off the top of my head anyways, but he was attacked. He was in a red Freedom shirt. Obviously now that shirt is just like a target now. I mean, I have one, but I'm not going to stop wearing it because tough times make tough people. I mean, the weak ones are always the one who will be forgotten. The tough ones will be remembered forever for their courage and bravery. So I know I'll be wearing my freedom shirt, and so should you. All should be wearing your freedom shirts. I wouldn't stop. Charlie died for this cause. So I just want to make that clear. And back to the point, this man in a red freedom shirt was attacked by an Antifa terrorist. He was bloodied severely, and I'm not going to put the picture up there, but I'm sure you can find it. There are videos of this man being attacked by an Antifa terrorist. Blood coming out of his face, out of his nose. It was disgusting. Simply because he wanted to go to a Turning Point USA event and watch conservative activists speak at a college campus. He was bloodied. He was attacked. Nobody deserves to get beat up like this. And this poor man had to be beat up just because he wanted to attend a rally. And it's about time that we recognize, and we cannot keep shrugging this off, and I cannot keep emphasizing this enough, but conservative beliefs and ideas are under attack in America. The First Amendment is under attack. And this division that is being fueled by these agitators, and certainly Antifa, I don't even think they can be considered agitators like they were before. I think you can consider them terrorists. They are the wrongdoers. And it's about time that we finally start to recognize, I mean, the fact that Antifa is a domestic terrorist organization and that they are only out. They're not anti-fascist. They're not for what they stand for. If they really were anti-fascist and they really were so deeply rooted in this cause, they would actually go out and fight for it like normal people. That's not by any means a movement. That's not by any means a peaceful organization. That is how a domestic terrorist organization operates. They fuel the fires. They are the violence. Because let it be clear, if there wasn't Antifa there, not even protesting, attacking the crowd at the Turning Point USA crowd at UC Berkeley, they wouldn't be being attacked. I mean, certainly, it's such a deep blue California area, and just such a deep blue state, they would be getting backlash and protests, but they wouldn't be getting attacked. If Antifa wasn't there, they wouldn't be attacked. Simply, the people that attacked the Turning Point USA rally goers were Antifa members. And we must realize that Antifa is out to get us. And kind of before this, we already knew that Antifa was always the agitators. They always were engaging in violence. And certainly we saw that in 2020 with the BLM riots and just rioting for whatever reason, because it seems like they were just rioting, not even for BLM, but just for anything. I mean, they rioted for anything in 2020. It was 2020. I mean, what a year. We didn't really see Antifa in action this bad. They always heckled conservative protesters and people who counter-protested them, but this time and recently, they have actually been attacking conservative rally-goers, just simply people who are attending a rally. This is a political rally. They are just attending a campus speaking event that includes conservative activists. They are attacking the normal people. They are attacking the peaceful people. And that shows you something. They're not attacking the counter-protesters anymore. They're not attacking the people that came on their turf. They're going on our turf, and they're attacking us now. So, also, about the recent election results, which I mentioned I was going to be talking about earlier. They were terrible. I'll say it right now. We did absolutely terrible as Republicans, collectively as conservatives. We didn't do our jobs. We didn't get out to vote. We weren't that motivated. I was motivated, but I could have been better. We all could have been better. You could have been better. And Republicans, let's just make it clear that Republicans always do bad in off-year elections. That's just a given. Republicans are always bound to underperform their general election results when it comes to off-year elections. So that's a given. But we lost in, I wouldn't say stunning fashion. I think we kind of had it coming because of our lack of enthusiasm for this round of elections. But it was kind of expected. Not because it was an off-year election, but because Republicans don't care, or at least a good amount of Republicans don't care past the fact that Trump is in the White House. That was the goal for Republicans and conservatives, that was the goal, was to get Trump back in the White House, but we need to continue to build on that. We had great results. We had a great showing. We had such a wonderful coalition put together in 2024, but we're starting to lose that now because we think that the fight's over. Because Trump's in the White House, everything's good, and he's going to save us all. I hate to break it to you, but that is a big lie. That is a big ass lie. Because we have Trump back in the White House, a Republican president, a common sense president back in the White House, but we'd rather vote him in and lead the executive branch that's on the federal level. We'd rather have him as president than our local mayor be normal. Why would we want to do that? Why would we shouldn't be trading that off. We shouldn't be saying, okay, we'll vote Trump in president. That's it. No more needs to be done. No, we need to make sure that our mayors and our sheriffs are not socialist, radical, and now they're even communist, radical lunatics. Look at Zohran Mamdani. He was an excellent manipulator. He ran an excellent campaign, but he ran on a lie. He's asking for money for his voters now. He said he wasn't going to ask for money and stop sending him money because he apparently got so much. Now he wants more money. He's starting to realize, and some of his supporters are starting to realize, that his goals aren't attainable. And maybe I think Zohran actually knew that his goals weren't attainable. I mean, you can't implement socialist policies in the capitalist center of the world. I mean, that's just so obvious. But these are, I mean, we fought for as long as most Americans alive today can remember. We fought against communism and we experienced the Red Scare. Well, I'm here to break it to you, but we're not in the days of the Red Scare anymore. We're in the days of the Red Reality. We have communism on our front door and it has infiltrated the capitalist center of the world, our flagship city, the symbol of America. Washington, D.C. may be the capital, but the fact is New York is the symbol. It is the flagship of America. And guess who leads it now? A Muslim socialist. Excluding the fact that listen, that's not the problem that he's Muslim. He is a Muslim extremist. That's the problem. That's another problem. Not because he's Muslim, he's a Muslim extremist. So that's why I say Muslim. That's why I preface communist with Muslim. But he's a communist, and that's the worst part. He is a communist, and he does not have the ideals and the values that we have always ran on. That Republican or Democrats have ran on. Nobody ever ran on socialist or communist ideas. Nobody was a Muslim radical like he is. And guess what? The Democratic Party ran him because he won their primary. That just goes to show you how far left the Democratic Party is moving. It is moving very fast to the left. Well, they already are on the left, but they're moving faster away from the center left. They are abandoning the establishment liberals now. And I couldn't, if you were to tell me or tell most Republicans or most conservatives or just normal people who watch the news in 2020 that Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi were being absolutely bashed by liberal media, I wouldn't believe it. Nobody would believe that. And it's crazy to say that because they are pretty left if you consider how far to the left they are from the center and the middle and the independents. This party's moving left. We must acknowledge that. And the answer may not be moving farther right, but it may simply be acknowledging that the Democratic Party is not the Democratic Party of yesterday. The Democratic Party today is not the one of yesterday, but the one of tomorrow. They're going to get farther left. They're going to continue to elect socialist candidates. Who knows? More than likely, we are going to have a socialist-leaning or socialist candidate who may resemble a Muslim radical like Mamdani running for president in 2028. And that's why I'm proud to say that I'm going to be doing everything I can, and I know some of my other friends online will be doing the same thing. We're going to be doing everything we can to stop this infiltration. We are going to be fighting for the future of our great republic. We're actually a republic, not a democracy. I don't know if you knew that. But we are going to be fighting, and certainly stay tuned because I'll be giving some updates. I have a very important thing to tell you guys, but that's a little bit down the road. And I'm going to be doing my part come 2026 and come 2028, along with some other friends I made on my platform. But what I wanted to talk about with you guys, I wanted to bring up the fact that the youth was absolutely not engaged for this round of elections, for the 2025 elections 2 Tuesdays ago. The youth was not engaged on the right, but the youth on the left were very engaged. Zohar Mamdani, very young campaign, very young supporters on aggregate. And guess what? He came out and he took over the capitalist center of America running on socialist policies. That's unbelievable. And that can be credited towards how just impressive he was. He was impressive because he was able to captivate the minds of the young left and bring them farther left and win their votes over. That was impressive. And I know we keep emphasizing the fact that he's a socialist and he's so bad for this, but he's so bad for our country because he is a socialist. But also, too, I think we need a takeaway we can get away from the New York election results is that not only is the left moving farther left, but the young left is willing to go farther left. And the young left is engaged. They came out and they supported Mamdani. They came out and it was a wonderful showing for the young left. And they came out and they voted Zohran Mamdani in as New York mayor. Because majority of the older people and people who are just past their 20s, actually, I'm sure if we were excluding most of the younger voters, I think Cuomo would be mayor. Sliwa would have done a lot better. And Zohar Mamdani certainly wouldn't have a chance because the youth was engaged in New York and the youth is going to be engaged come 2026 and come 2028. So we need to stop taking these off-year elections lightly because they are certainly a warning sign. That is a warning, a wake-up call for us. That should be the wake-up call because we need to know that they're doing everything in their power, that the Democrat Party is doing everything in their power to bring the young along with them. And we need to and obviously the pendulum has swung our way a little bit recently, but we're going to lose it. We are going to lose our young people. They are going to go right back to the Democratic Party because we stopped engaging them as soon as Trump won office. Charlie Kirk didn't. And I truly believe Charlie Kirk got shot and he was killed because of the fact that he was able to engage the youth so successfully. But Charlie's gone. He's not going to come and save us. We need to save ourselves. We need to be engaged. We need to be involved in politics, even when Trump or the Republican nominee for president isn't on the ballot. We need to continue to be engaged. We need to get people out to vote. And we need to truly accept the fact that we have to vote early and we have to vote on election day. We have to do everything. We have to do every way, and like we did in 2024, we have to do everything in our power to make sure that Republicans do better next time. And that's 2026. And those are very important elections coming up. We have senators up, we have congressmen and women up. We have our House majority is razor thin, and if we have a terrible showing like we did a couple weeks ago in 2026, Donald Trump's presidency is over, whether you like it or not. Not only are they going to try to impeach him, and that may stop his presidency, they always try to impeach him, and they don't have basis. But when you win over the majorities like that, and certainly if they do as good as they did two Tuesdays ago, they're going to have a super majority. It seems like in Congress because they just dominated in races that they shouldn't have. If we were just more engaged, they wouldn't have. But they're going to try to impeach Trump. I firmly believe that one of the first orders of business, if the Democrats win the House, and they have a good showing in the Senate too, I truly believe that a resolution to impeach President Trump will be on the floor within a month of the new Congress if the Democrats win. Mark my words. Mark my words. If the Democrats have a good showing like they did earlier this month, in 2026, they win the House and they have a good showing in the Senate, impeachment will be on the floor within no less than a month. I truly believe it. I mean, look at last time they were impeaching him for anything at that point. He was getting impeached twice. Once the Democrats took the majority in the House and they took over the Senate, once they had those good showings in the 2018 midterms, Trump was impeached twice. So beware that if we don't vote our Republican congressmen and women if we don't vote for them in 2026, Donald Trump's impeachment is going to be on the congressional floor within a month of the new Congress if they win. So beware. Trump may be in the Oval Office, but without a Congress, without a united Republican Congress, his presidency, not only is he going to be being impeached, but it's also going to be over because no legislation is viable. No pro-Trump or agenda-furthering legislation is viable in a Democratic Congress. So just keep that in mind. It's your choice, America. It's your choice, the young conservatives. We have it in our hands. The ball is in our court. We need to play it. We need to make some moves. We cannot suck like last time. We sucked 2 Tuesdays ago. We sucked. We let socialists get elected. And the socialist that was running in Minnesota, Omar Fata, if that's how you say his name, did lose, but he had a heck of a showing too. He is a Muslim radical socialist, and he had a great showing. That's concerning, people. We need to get on our horses. We need to mount up. We need to suit up. And we need to fight this battle because nobody's going to win it if we don't pick up those freaking swords. Truly. And that's all I have to say. Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Right Side Rising. And I know I talked a lot. I definitely let you guys hear it. I haven't done an episode. It's been a little bit. I've been really busy with school. I just want to make this known. I am a student, all honors classes. I'm a videographer. I podcast. I do social media. And I live. And that takes up all of my time. So it's pretty hard to get these episodes, especially one like this, which is 30 plus minutes out to you guys. It's pretty hard, but I try. And here's one for you guys. I hope you guys really enjoyed this episode. We talked about, again, I just want to do a little quick summary. We talked about Trump and the Epstein files. We talked about the shutdown ending the UC Berkeley attack on TPUSA by Antifa. And we broke down the election results. So if you skipped ahead to this point in the episode, that's what we covered over the course of this episode. So you don't want to skip ahead in this episode. You definitely want to listen to everything we said because this was an action-packed, information-packed episode. And certainly, I hope and pray that you guys like this episode because truly, I work hard for you guys. I work my ass off to make sure you guys get the content you want. And I also work my ass off to make sure that I am impartial as possible and I get the facts and I put the facts over my feelings. So that's such an important part. And certainly, if you want to continue on in this fight and you want to start maybe your own journey like I did, then you need to make sure that you're putting facts over feelings because that's what the right has over the left. So thank you guys for tuning into another episode of Right Side Rising. I'm Gino Falco. I'm going to continue being the voice the young conservatives need, even when the left tries to silence us and tries to attack us. So I also want to make it known that truly, America's comeback starts right now, and it begins with the youth who refuse to be silent.